الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر.
Hi and welcome to Worlds Apart, a program that is dedicated to speaking the truth in love. I'm your host, Rommel Hussain, and today we have with us Daniel Shayesteh, who will be discussing with us ideologies that are truly worlds apart. First of all, welcome to the show, Daniel.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming on board and sharing some of your insights. I mean, I've really enjoyed going through these episodes. It's been a real learning curve for me personally.
Wonderful. I'm so glad, really.
Thank you. What I would like to talk about specifically on this episode is the truth about Christianity. Now, I want you to cast your mind back to when you were a Muslim. And I want you to think about when you first had contact with a true Christian church. What was it that you thought? What were you thinking? What was some of the things that you had been taught about Christians, and were you able to reconcile them with Christianity?
Well, it was shocking, really, to me. For the first time, I saw Christians and I went to a church. Before that, we always heard in the mosques and, in Islamic gatherings that Christians are the most immoral people, and all bad things come from them, and they are not godly, and they don't know what God is really. They have gone astray, and the only solution for them is to become Muslim. So this was in our mindset.
And immoral in the sense that
absolutely.
They cheat and they lie, all these types of things?
When really Islam sticks to a word, really, it sticks with its full meaning. Okay. When you call immoral, in other words, rejected totally. I mean, that's why that in daily prayer, 10 times they reject Christianity. With the first chapter of, the Qur'an, they recite that always, or the short chapter 112, they repeat that 12 times, also rejecting the sonhood of Jesus. So it's really rejecting is perfect. They are immoral in everything. They do not have any good things in their lives, And it's amazing that there was a Christian man who escaped from the time of Stalin to our city in Iran. And he was a Christian man. He said to people that he was a Christian man. Everybody admired his attitudes. I remember that one day my father was sitting with his friends, and they were talking about him. They said, he is very nice person. He never swears. He never curses people. And he just says yes and no, that's all. And people were saying, that's so nice. And then one of my father's friends said, well, these kind of people really need to be Muslim. And my father said, do you want him to be like us? So we saw some amazing thing from Christians. We never thought that where is this amazing attitude coming from, really? What is this goodness? What is that the source is really the gospel? Nobody really thought about that, because always is in your mind, Islam is the best. Islam is the perfect, and the Muslims are the best. As Qur'an says in chapter 3, verse 110, Muslims are the best God has created for the world. And so that was my mindset. For the first time, after years in Turkey, when I went to the church and I saw these people and I saw their attitudes, it was quite shocked to me, really. Are these people my immoral people that I was taught for years? And I remember, I never forget that one day I saw that there was a couple, you know, husband and wife. We were talking to each other. Wife was talking, and husband was staring at her face. So strange to me, you know. My mother never could never talk in front of my father, you know. And that's the case. I mean, especially if you're a committed Muslim wife, you just stay, you know, out of the you know, community, and men, you never talk, you cannot talk. But here I see this husband is really respecting and listening to the words of his wife. And I learned morality from them. And honestly, I'm saying to you, several times I thought about myself. I said, look at these people, how they care for their own bodies, how they cover their bodies. You know, this just, you know, this Muslim, committed Muslim and Islamists see some people in the Western countries, you know, they do not behave nicely, they do not dress nicely, and they say, oh, look at them, Christians, you know. Well, Christians even do not believe they are Christians, you know. So that was the misinformation I got, and I was amazed, really. And I saw these people never swear. My goodness, there are 80 people in the church. I haven't heard somebody cursing somebody. Somebody, you know, was swearing at, you know, thing. You know, you're a Muslim, out of 10 words, just 8 of them swear. I swear to Allah, I swear to moon, I swear to the head of my father, I swear to that, I swear. These people are not swearing. So it was amazing, really. And gradually, that, you know, the door was open for me to really understand the reason.
So you could see these differences, but you had not at that stage located what the source was.
I was not really, I was not able really to understand that, but I understood really, these people are so nice people. You know, God has created you in His own image. No matter you're Muslim, you're a Chinese, you're a Jew, you appreciate people are good to you, you know, in the depths of your heart. I was really appreciating that, you know. And sometimes they were talking some disturbing things, you know, doctrinally, you know, Jesus is the Son of God, you know. They were talking a lot about Jews, because Bible is full of Jewish words, you know. I didn't like really Jews. I said, these people are so wonderful, and they have got some problems. You know, in back of my mind, I was thinking, their problems, these little problems, you know, could be solved if they gave their heart to Allah. You know, that was my thinking. But I really didn't know the reason. I didn't know really that was Jesus. That was the gospel of Jesus, really shaped them beautifully, like flowers, really smelling so beautiful. These people is spiritually to me, and it was wonderful, really.
So you could see that there were all these nice qualities about the Christians, but you couldn't reconcile that with the things that they believed. So you were really offended by the doctrine, but you loved the people. And this was the beginning of the relationship.
Absolutely.
So if I can ask you, what is it that truly defines a Christian? Is it because their parents were Christian? Is it because they've been raised in a Christian country? Is it because they wear a cross? What defines a Christian?
It's not really. It's really the root is to become united with God. God is the source of joy. God is the source of respect, justice, and peace. You have to be united with Jesus. Jesus is the King of peace. You see, as an Iranian, I understood that very well, because I was very much interested in Iranian poetry, classical poetry. Jesus is hero in the minds of classical poets, really. And because he is the simplest one, he doesn't give pain to people. He is a sacrificial person. So I understood that amazing thing, that you can be good, you can be joyful, you can be peaceful if you reside in the kingdom of Jesus. In other words, you allow Jesus come into your heart, because it's Jesus who says, respect your enemy, Love your enemy. Bless your enemy. Because when enemy is blessed, you respect your enemy, you're shattering the cruelty in that enemy with your goodness. You imagine, I was a cruel man. I was preparing young boys and girls, to harm Christians, to harm Jews in the future. But now I am in the church. And that love really changed my life. Isn't that wonderful? I love now everybody in the world. I respect everybody in the world. I do not curse any more Jews. I do not curse Muslims. I do not curse anybody. I'm here to bless people. My God said you cannot curse people. You cannot harm them. I have just put you in this world to bless them, to love them. That's wonderful. That's coming from the Lord Jesus. Jesus is the root of this joy. Jesus was the cause of that change. Not a cross hanging on your neck, or not just inheriting a religion from your father or mother.
So a true Christian, Daniel, is someone that follows Jesus and obeys his every command.
It's a really loving unity.
Okay.
If you fall in love with somebody, you always try really to have such a life to please your partner, not to hurt his or her heart, to have a peaceful life in the family.
And is this unity with Jesus?
Unity with Jesus. It's just I'm giving you an example, really.
Yes.
As you see that family is successful, which is based on love fully. In everything you do, as a husband and wife, as a mother, as a father, as a child, based on that love, you always try to follow the standard of love, not to breach the right of every person or any person in the family, not to break the heart of person, to be forgiving person, because forgiveness brings people together. Always yearn for peace. This is the kind of relationship you have with Jesus. You have fallen in love with each other, really. You see that amazing love in him. You make him as a standard. You see, always we need that standard in our life. For everything we need a standard. Jesus, as the source of absolute joy and love and kindness and respect and peace, brings that unity into you. As gospel says, that through him, Jesus, we are united to God, and we are united with all nations. We can love people. So this unity really with Jesus is causing you to have such a life and to be acceptable to people. You see, every day, honestly, I'm saying to you, before Osama bin Laden died, every day I prayed for him.
Wow.
Every day, my God is witness, because I cannot hate.
Yes.
I have left hate.
As a Christian,
behind.
you were doing that. Yes.
Absolutely, because of Jesus. We cannot hate. And I was always praying, God, I was like him. I understand him. If you touch his heart, take the hatred out of his heart, he will be a wonderful man for you. He will be a blessing to all people. He will open his arms for all nations, and including Jews. And believing Jews, yet Jews also have a right to live in this world. That's the heart Jesus has given to me, to you, and to other people, really. It's Jesus, and it's coming from the loving unity with Jesus. You're united with him. That love surpasses everything. That love solves every problem. That love comes to you in the midst of great pains and says to you, whispers in your ears and says, you are victorious. That's the love. Paul says, nothing can separate me from the love of Jesus.
Yes.
Death in this world, absolutely not. The whole pleasure of this world, absolutely not. I am united with that absolute love and peace, and nothing can separate me from that. That unity becomes the leader in your life and light for your for your steps.
I mean, your story reminds me partially of the Apostle Paul, Saul of Tarsus, which is a very central story in the Acts of the Apostles in the Bible, in the New Testament. And he was this man who was filled with rage, filled with hatred for Christians. He hated Christians, and he went about to try and capture them and bring them back in chains so that they could give them a very quick execution.
Absolutely.
But God met him.
That
He
was my
met him.
philosophy, actually.
Yes, yes, please.
That was my philosophy, to pray for Osama bin Laden.
Yes.
God.
So you weren't happy. You weren't happy at all over his capture and death.
Oh, no. The real followers of Jesus do not rejoice because of the death of somebody. That's not our heart. That's not the heart of Jesus Christ. For Jesus, concerning, Osama bin Laden was his salvation, to unite with God.
Yes.
Jesus paid a great price for him too. He died for all world, no matter who they are.
Yes.
He died for Ayatollah Khomeini. He died for Ayatollah Khomeini. For the leader of Hezbollah, and all world, even the leaders who hate non-Muslims. Really, he died for them. He never rejoices, upon the death of somebody. For Jesus, salvation for everybody. It breaks God's heart if somebody dies without uniting with God. And that's the spirit of the Lord Jesus. So that's what really encourages you. That's my message. That's the message of Christ to the world, that, come to Jesus really. Reject all those hatreds, those eye for eye and, tooth for tooth, that Arabic qisas, just leave it really. That makes your,
miserable, your life miserable.
Heart
Yes.
really smells so bad, really.
Yes.
It's, hatred is so bad for humankind, soul. God really wants to save people from hatred and to plant them in the joy, and so people are joyful. And that's the message of the Bible. It says, in the last day, people will come from all nations to the house of Jacob,
And worship.
to the house of
Yes.
Jesus, and they will say, wow, this is the God I've been always desiring,
Yes.
God of love. God is love. In the gospel, God is the God of love. He wants you to bring you and establish in the love.
So as we look at the truth about Christianity, I know that there is something that is often in our Muslim brothers' lives and in their minds, their thinking. And I think you described it before, it's a type of conditioning. And often when a Muslim looks at a Western, a developed country, they get the picture of Christianity in everything that society does, in the gambling, in the drinking, in the clothes that are worn, in the movies. And even though there is some want, I mean, many Muslims love to come to Western countries because of the success and the affluence of those countries, but yet they hate these things that they see, and mistakenly they attribute these things with Christianity. Are these things Christian? Any nation that develops its principles on the Bible, does it end up that way, Daniel?
That's not Christian. The solution really for every person who thinks really that all these things are Christian, the response really to their challenges, to their concerns, to their questions is the gospel. They need to read the really gospel and to see that.
But do Christians allow drunken behavior, gambling? I mean, this is what they see, and I think it's a fair enough question.
Well, it's just as I'm saying that, it's gambling or drinking to be drunk, it's not to believe in Christianity, or every other immoral thing things are done in the Western countries. That cannot be attached to Christianity. But I just want to say something. Yes. Really. God created humankind in freedom. He respects people's freedom. He is so gentle toward people's freedom. You see, Adam and Eve sinned. He didn't kill them. He didn't cut their hands. He didn't destroy them. For God, who loves freedom, who respects freedom, the solution was, I need to show my glory to them, my truth to them, and to convince them logically, because I've given them brain.
That's right.
So God believes in freedom. And I'm saying to you, as a follower of Jesus Christ, I respect the freedom in the Western countries more than the cruelty and authoritarianism of Islam.
But
really.
shouldn't you have tough rules and strict rules?
The tough rules cannot change you. 1400 years, the tough rule in Islamic countries didn't change people. You see, I have lived in two eras in Iran. In the time of King of Iran, the Shah of Iran, I have lived in the time of Khomeini. People, clergies were complaining in the time of King that there were immoralities in that country. But the immorality became more after the Islamic Revolution.
More?
Absolutely. Iran is my country. I love that country, absolutely. Go to the website and see what these clergies, these imams really did in that country, really. Even the raped boys. You know, you imagine in the book of Ayatollah Khomeini is written that young girls and boys can go with each other, you know. And there are embarrassing things in their books encouraging people for immoral relationship with each other. And I read a story really about a school that, you know, in the time of Shah, people were terrified, even girls were terrified if they lost their virginity. After the revolution, they found an aborted child in a toilet in a girls' school. And the principal called the student, anybody has done that, come forward, I'm going to protect you. I just want you who that person is. The person couldn't go forward because of fear. They had no choice to bring doctors and to test these girls and see which one is not virgin, so that's the one. Okay. They discovered 75% of the high school girls were not virgin. Oh. You know, that's a shock in an Islamic country ruled by Sharia law. So law restriction cannot change you. After the Islamic Revolution, Iranian became the most alcoholic drinking people in the country because everybody made alcohol in their houses. So it's not the restriction.
It was just moved from the street to the house or hidden.
Absolutely.
Yes.
You see, I am now in a free country now. I am a Christian. I am free to drink, you know, alcoholic. I just drink alcohol because drunk, you know, to be drunk is, you know, is not accepted in the gospel. Can you believe that maybe once a year I drink? Wow. Can you believe that?
Wow.
You know, I am drunk in the love of the Lord Jesus.
Wow. That's
you
nice.
Really do not think, I'm a musician too. I was playing in an Iranian, you know, friends. They were not Christian. They were just Muslim. They said to me, you know, one thing you need to have. They were drinking a lot. I was not drinking. They said, you need to drink. I said, I'm already drunk in the love of Jesus. Wow. Honestly, I'm joyful, I said to them. I have overcome every pain. That drink is not going to help you. So it's the love, it's the freedom really. In freedom, when you have somebody like Jesus in your life, he comes into your life and he says, look, this freedom is here for you to discover your full identity in God and rejoice it in yourself, in your relationship with your family, in your relationship with others.
Yes.
Law restriction cannot really correct you. Unfortunately, I was a professor in one of the universities. I always encouraging my students to read the newspaper. I read a lot of newspaper articles that how corrupt the Islamic leaders in some of these Islamic countries are, and Western countries were shocked. We want to deal with them. They're asking bribe, because in America, law is this: if you're a business person, you're caught in bribing, your business can be cancelled.
Yes, that's right.
But
yes.
a Saudi Arabian person, a prince, is asking for bribing, and the guy complained to American government, what can I do? This is $1 billion deal, and we have been doing that. So law cannot change you. It's the love. It's Jesus who can change you.
That's right. God needs to change you. And I think it's so wonderful the way you put it, that it is really, God does not restrict, but He simply says, I'm going to show you the right way. I'm going to give you free will. I'm not going to force you. He could force us and turn us into puppets with strings, and He could make us do many things, but He doesn't want that type of relationship. He created us so that we could respond to His love, so that we can have fellowship with Him, so that we can realize who He is and give Him glory from our own heart and freely to Him. Daniel, thank you once again for sharing your insights with us.
It's a pleasure, really. It's so good to be here. Thank you.
Now you've been able to hear and listen how important it is to see what true Christianity is. What true Christianity is a unity with God. As Daniel explained, it is having a relationship with Him. And that relationship wants you to be able to follow Him. And not to follow Him because out of laws, but you don't want to hurt Him. You want to please Him, and you want to be in love with Him. We hope that if you don't have this type of relationship, that you will discover it through the Bible and through Jesus Christ. Please stay in tune for the very next episode of Worlds Apart, and may God bless you.